favorite in this race, where it's one race, winner take all. You are clearly heavy favorite.
If you ask what it's like, I mean, it doesn't really feel like it. You know, I've kind of, since this is my third year, I felt like I was potentially the media favorite, you know, going into last year. Maybe not the overwhelming, but, you know, we carried the most wins into Phoenix and kind of got our teeth kicked in a little bit last year. So, yeah, I mean, I know we've statistically been the best truck and everything, but the way the format works, you know, everyone's even, and if we miss it this week, then that's the story. That's it. So, you know, just kind of focused on ourselves, not really looking at who's the odds-on or odds-off favorite. You know, just mostly kind of staying internal.
Really unfair thing to say in this format, but the year you had, if you don't culminate it with a championship, does it feel less than great?
It does. You know, I think that's especially where we're at as a race team. I think if we had one to our name already and, you know, could call ourselves champions of the truck series, it'd be a little different, but that's kind of been the hole in our team, I guess, you know, and I don't think it's for a lack of a race team by any means. It's just kind of circumstantial, you know, for how our two championship races have gone so far. I think we've showed up with good equipment both years and just kind of came up short. So I don't think it's anything to hang our heads about, you know, if it doesn't work out, but certainly something that we definitely want to click off before it's all said and done.
Ty dominated last year. Would you consider him probably your biggest threat this weekend again?
Probably, but once again, it just, you know, we won't really know until after practice. I feel like you've seen guys kind of like him last year. I mean, he had really good races last year, no doubt, and he dominated races, but I don't think anyone came in to this race expecting him to just absolutely, you know, kind of wear us out. So it could happen to any of us, you know, Tyler or Caden too. They could bring really good stuff and kind of have the same result. It's just part of the championship race.
Where do you feel that Tricon's flat track, short track program is compared to years past, and how important was a track like New Hampshire being added to the schedule to prep for this one?
Regarding New Hampshire, I think it conceptually, I think the setup is similar, but certainly a little bit different in the sense that it's a bit bumpier, and you have to favor you know, forgiveness in your truck and your front end to kind of get around there. Versus here, it's pretty much, you know, smooth the entire way through. So a little bit different of a package, but similar concept as far as setup goes. But I do feel like our package on short, you know, flat tracks, like you mentioned, have gotten better. I think that was maybe our one weakness last year was our short track package, or maybe my weakness last year, and that's gotten a lot better. So definitely huge props to Tricon and Toyota for their hard work on that.
Have you changed your approach at all this year to the weekend as opposed to the previous 2 years?
To the weekend, no, but to this track specifically, I would say yes. I feel like, kind of like I mentioned, I feel like one of my weaknesses was short tracks or flat tracks, and I definitely did a deep dive last off season to see kind of why that might be, if it's the truck, if it's me, and lo and behold, I think most of it was actually me. So, you know, did a lot of work as far as trying to get that better, you know, working with Toyota and Tricon to understand kind of where my weaknesses were on these kind of racetracks, and I think it's really showed that we've been able to put two and two together and definitely improve that this year.
Are you the kind of person that coming into the weekend might like kind of take a step back and chill out and find your zen wherever you need to be? Or are you the kind that's, you know, all in, focused, you know? I know you're focused and that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, are you able to?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really know what to compare to as far as that. I feel like I'm a pretty laid-back dude, but at the same time, I'm very focused. This year has been probably my best year as far as just overall, I guess, headspace, for lack of a better word. You know, just being able to be focused without, you know, completely checking out, just kind of finding a you know, work-home kind of balance kind of thing, as far as just being able to be busy and be focused and continue to get better, but also just find some time for myself to kind of be in the right headspace. Go ahead, finish up.
I was just going to say, does that involve maybe doing things with your friends or your family, or what do you do to kind of just step back?
Just finding a healthy kind of disconnect time and understanding when is the right time and place to do that. You know, we spend a lot of time nowadays, you know, looking at the sim and looking at TV screens and kind of looking at data and whatnot. So any time that I can find to, you know, just get a breath of fresh air, go play some golf or fish or get outdoors, I think that's all really important for us.
Talk about the confidence you have. I mean, you've had an amazing season. It's been fantastic. if you don't win the championship on Sunday night, you can still hang your hat on a fantastic season. That all being said, after your dominant performance in Martinsville last week, how is it, or not Martinsville, you know what I'm saying, the confidence you have coming into this race, how do you kind of step back from that and not be overconfident because there's no more mulligans?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done a good job just as a race team being in the right headspace and understanding where we're at. You know, I don't think we've had a lot of highs and lows this year. We've been very even-keeled and just carried momentum through the entire season. You know, for us, I feel like just doing what we've been doing and had success with this year is going to be really important as far as just preparing the same way with maybe a slightly bigger push considering it's a championship race and kind of understanding the circumstances a little bit. But as far as our mental approach to it, I think we've had success doing what we've been doing, so we're just going to continue to do that.
You have 10 more wins than the rest of the Championship 4 field going into this race. Does that add any pressure or nerves going into practice just to make sure you have a car you feel like can contend for a win?
I'd certainly say there's pressure going into practice to make sure we can contend for a win, but I would never think about how many more wins or less wins we have than our competition, considering it doesn't matter at this point. You know, we're all even on points and we're all kind of in the same boat. So definitely a lot of pressure to make sure that we dial our truck in, of course, for the championship race, but I don't really think about statistics at this point.
If something happens this weekend, it's kind of all for nothing.
I wouldn't say it's all for nothing by any means. I mean, there's nothing to hang our heads about. If something out of our control happens, I feel like I'd have a lot more of a sour outlook on it if I were to make a mistake and cost us the championship or something like that. But at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, I mean, we've had a great year so far, and I'm definitely very grateful for kind of where I'm at as a driver and what this race team has been able to accomplish at Tricon and Toyota. So, yes, it'll sting. I mean, no doubt it'll really suck if we don't get it done. But at the end of the day, we've had a great year so far.
This weekend decide. Right now, you would have a 5-race lead in the regular season point standings, just the full season points. You know, it all comes down to this one race. But as deep down, is there just that frustration that this isn't already decided and locked up?
Not necessarily. I mean, we knew what we were getting ourselves into, you know, before the season started, of course, with the playoffs, and we knew we could win 24 races and come into the championship race and still lose the championship. It's just kind of how it works. So I don't think there's any built-up frustration due to that. I mean, I think, of course, we're probably the most deserving at this point, but it doesn't really matter.
Steven Stumpf of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.